Well, why don't we start since we're ready to go? Excuse me a second. That would be good. Is there someone here? This is the Senior Tax Workoff Committee on November 19th, 6 o'clock in the evening. Is there somebody who'd like to take notes? I see everybody jumping up and down. Joe, you did such a great time last. Oh, Jen, I see a volunteer. Thank you so much. All right, you'll take the minutes. Okay. It's your turn. Aren't you lucky?
What a character building experience.
Oh yeah. Hey, good job with those notes, Joe. I really appreciate it. I had a couple of questions, and as we go over the minutes, if I may, what's a KSA?
What's a what?
On page 3 of the minutes.
Okay.
July 15 to September 6th, you wrote down assessing participant KSAs towards placing a participant.
Okay.
I was lost, so I didn't know if anybody else might be.
Yeah. KSAs is an HR acronym that refers to knowledge, skills, and abilities.
Okay.
Apparently we have none of those because none of us knew what it meant.
That was,
I'm there. Okay.
That's on me. I should have, I assumed something that wasn't in evidence, so.
Okay, so maybe we could edit that.
Sure, I will, let me expand that.
That would be great. Val cannot be here tonight. I'm sorry to say she had a death in the family. Her mother passed away, right?
Father.
Her father passed away. So we weren't able to do an update with her.
Stan's not coming.
Stan is not coming. And I had with regard to age requirement on page 4 of the minutes. Yeah, page 4. At near the bottom, the last bullet point.
Okay.
Of the minutes, I think specific age was not discussed, but I thought we were going to abide by the statute, and the statute is over 60.
Over 60. Okay.
So if we could make that change.
Age 60, over 60, or 60 and above.
As I recall, Jay, you usually have the statute pulled right up there. Does anybody have it immediately available? I think it says over 60. If not, well, we could look that up and insert if everyone's in agreement with that. And then the last question on the minutes was in last page number 6, just a typo in the 4th CPA, it's actually CPA. That's just a typo.
What? Where is it again? Oh, CAP. I see.
And change that to CPA, and then I'd entertain a motion to approve the minutes. Unless somebody has the schedule up for the law.
In terms of the age?
Yeah.
So I have, I'm on, let's see here, blog.mass.gov, and they're saying 60 and over. This is the open DOR, so it's the official blog of the Massachusetts Department of Revenue.
So again, it's age 60 or older.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, I will make that change, and I've made the other 2 changes, and then we can
go ahead and approve the minutes.
We'll approve it.
So since you mentioned the blog, let me just go back there for a second, and I think that's as of January 1st in the year. Is that correct? To be eligible? That may be in the statute or in one of the DOR regs, but we can address that later. I don't think we need to do so for the minutes, but it's just something we can. Jay, you see your hand?
A point of information.
Always good with
JP,
that.
you were right. The statute itself says persons over age 60.
Oh,
So
Isn't that interesting? Now, I think they mean the day
Yeah.
of
60 plus 1 day.
60 plus. So I think that's how everyone's interpreting it. But I thought the statute said over 60. So yeah, but they must mean 60.
I think it's important how the DOR interprets it. So
It's just as important as anything else. Absolutely. So I'll entertain a motion for the minutes, please.
Once again, so JP, so how do you want it to say age 60 and above or over age 60?
So I would say the way the DOR 60 or over on 60 or over.
60, okay.
Yeah, 60 and over. 60 and over.
60 and over, okay.
Good.
All right, it is done.
Excellent. And so if we can approve, entertain the motion.
so moved.
Okay, thank you. Second.
Second,
All right, Joe, thank you. Let's do a roll call vote. Peg,
Abstain.
abstain.
I wasn't at the meeting.
Good
Oh,
call.
yeah.
Good call.
whoa.
Brendan,
aye.
Jay,
I
Jen?
Aye.
JPI, good. We've approved the minutes by unanimous consent with one abstention. Thank you. I will do my very best to make this short for the meeting, if possible. If we could do so, even because we went so long the last time, I apologize for that. With regard to the issues, were there reports for today? Lori in the assessor's office, Jen?
I didn't get a hold of her.
Okay,
I know that we were talking about the cutoff for the tax bill and when we would have to have the program run in order to get the payment on.
right.
And I did reach back out to her and I didn't hear back. So, but again, I know, is she still here? Is she not here? I can't, I'm
She's here, Jen, until December 31st.
December 31st. Okay. So it's possible that she just didn't get the email yet. And I'm not really sure how often she's in the building.
Let's see if I can share a quick screen with everybody, because I wanted to be able to have, is this working? Did the screen come up?
Nope.
Not yet.
Not yet, because I didn't push share.
There it is. There we go.
There we go.
It's getting
All right. I wanted to just kind of run this by everyone to see if it was everyone here's understanding. And then maybe you could share this sheet. I could send it to you, Jen, when you talk to Lori.
Perfect.
So the participant tax reduction schedule is what we're looking at. Hours completed by the end of February would be processed by the city departments and then paid and credited toward the tax bill in April. Is that kind of like what we've been talking about?
Mm-hmm.
All right, made, and then you credit for July. Now that credits in the next fiscal year, unfortunately, and there's really no other way to do this on a quarterly basis without crediting something to the next fiscal year, and that would happen one time. And it would, and it just, so November goes to January, so it crosses calendar year. But that's, I don't know how to do it quarterly and give everybody time without using the schedule. If you could run it by the folks in the city departments, that would be helpful, and I can send it to you. I think we should probably put that somewhere stored. Any questions about that one? No, let me see if I can unshare the screen. Ah, great. Bear with me. Everything is coming up except for the screen that I need to change.
JP,
Yeah, oh, there it is.
do you have like a green bar at the top that says view options? Oh, okay. You're good.
There we go.
Perfectly. I just had to find it. Sorry. let's see, Jen, was there something else that we were reporting on there?
I'm sorry, you'll have to bear with me. This is literally my fourth Zoom meeting today, and I'm a little stressed out.
I'm sorry to hear that. That's
No, I'm just
Zoom.
woo. I don't have anything else in my notes. I was just going to talk to Lori and clarify that, and I was going to see also. I think I was just going to make sure that Carol was fine with it as well. But I mean, she really just receives the file from the assessor's office, so I can't imagine that it would, you
I
know.
know Al had some postings, ledger postings to do and approve in the process, and we had hoped to be able to talk to her. I don't, I was thinking ahead a little bit to having the report go out, and I'm actually thinking we can have a report either for the December 2nd or the December 16th city council meeting, if we can pull this together. So were there other things that would Peg that you saw that we hadn't identified? Because I know you were thinking very carefully about all the issues that you thought about. And I think we, in the program characteristics, Joe has hit the points that we addressed. And I think we hit most of them. Was there any second thoughts about those?
No, do we have, so is that what was included in the minutes?
They're in the minutes, the program characteristics,
Okay.
3 of the minutes.
Okay.
They deal with things like explaining where a multi-year pilot test will modify based on experience. The credit was $1,500 per year before taxes and related to deductions that would leave somewhere between $1,350 and $1,400 likely off the tax bill. That we were thinking about between 8 and 12 people. And we didn't really nail that down. Kind of maybe that's something we could talk with the mayor
What
about.
about income limitations? Did we want to define income limitations?
We did. We said that we would use the HUD guidelines, which are currently the 54,000 for a household size of 1, 61,760 for a household size of 2. They go up to household sizes of 8. So we would meet the moderate income guidelines. So low and moderate income senior guidelines would be included.
And do we have, and I apologize, did we have, it's your hours start on this day of the year and the last day you can work to get a credit is this day? Do we know what those are?
That's the schedule we had up on the screen.
Okay, so you can go, what was it, January,
February
February through, I forget,
I'd have to pull it back up.
February through September?
If we can bear with me.
Sorry, I didn't realize that's what you were showing us. I thought it was an example.
Yeah, sorry. I think we're going to get there. Screen 3, share. Yeah, those are the schedules. Is that up?
Okay, so I, as a senior, can work from February 1 through November 30th. That's the time frame we're saying the job. If you work during those months, and that gives the assessor and the finance team enough time after November. Jen, do you think there's any additional time you would need as you plan for the budget in the next year? Like if we ended in November and say we have, we're not going to know until the end of November how many people, how many hours, yada, yada, yada. And as you plan for the budget, is that okay that you won't know that number for the prior year to assess what you need to book for the budget? Or is that
Well, I mean, because of the way that the program will be structured, in that we, like the number of positions will be predetermined.
okay?
And so therefore the number of, the
cap.
the cap, exactly. Thank you. The highest number that it would cost us. So I think that, because of that, it'll just be a line item in the budget. So
Okay.
it'll be doable.
Okay.
But again, I'll talk to Lori and, you know, just see what her suggestion is on it. You know, because like I said, the Peg, where this kind of came from was Tom Scanlon had said that he doesn't know of anyone who crosses fiscal years with this, but because of the way that real estate bills go on calendar year and we work on fiscal year, like we just have to make sure that we, you know, are doing it properly so that we're giving them credit accordingly in the right year.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at Norwood and they go from January to November hours. So they're doing it. Oh.
We should be able to too.
Yeah, it doesn't look, although overused, it does not look unprecedented.
So I think we have a couple of points when Val gets back to kind of check. We had hoped that she would be invited to today's meeting to kind of resolve those. I don't know how soon she's coming back to work or, you know, how much other things she'll have on her plate. So let's see, there was an issue with regard to home, but not the home ownership question, but with regard to ADA requirements and working with having someone else work for you. And we had not really totally resolved. We were going to try to get some additional information and check with some other people about that. Any news there from anybody?
I didn't do any research, but in the previous readings that I have done, the senior has to qualify for the job that is needed. So it doesn't feel like the job necessarily is made for the senior. They have to be able to intellectually, emotionally, and physically be able to do the job. If they can't, then we have to decide if we want to allow another person to do it on their behalf. I'm all for that. And I don't know how tricky that would be, but yeah, so because I think seniors, like, well, I don't even want to say that I could do a job. I probably couldn't, but as they get older, it's on, you know, they have more of a financial burden the older they get, and therefore the less likely they'd be able to do the job. So I'd like to be able to give them some relief by having their, you know, son, nephew, whatever, do it. Yeah.
Jen?
Well, I think that was, Peg, that was actually another thing that we kind of talked about was, so if we allow that, is it that anyone can, you know, their neighbor can do it for them, or does it have to be a relative? And can we dictate that? You know, so that was kind of more food for thought on that also that we were discussing last time.
Joe?
Yeah, I think that was what I remember too, that the situation seemed to be different if it was a relative who was working on behalf of the individual, you know, then that would seem to be a better situation than if it was a complete stranger working on behalf of the individual. But the other fact was that we talked about this as a pilot test where maybe we start the first year being very simple. And it seems a little incongruous that we have a senior tax work-off program and people, you know, who aren't in a position to work, you know, want to apply for the program. I mean, maybe, I think I would feel more comfortable if we tackled this question in the second year of the pilot test. And just going forward, let's see if we can recruit, you know, a number of people who are capable of doing the work on their own.
Do we want to say we might punt and not address the subject? Leave it open. That way we haven't made a final determination one way or the other. And then it's there. If the situation presents itself, we'll deal with it.
I think that would be a wise course of action.
So I guess I would leave the question out of any presentation or any discussion and leave it open for, if that makes sense. Brendan?
I don't know if maybe it would be helpful to include something in a language that maybe said, well, I don't know. I was thinking maybe on a case by case basis to be determined by the city. I don't know if that's something that people would want to approach or just leave it.
I think if we just leave it out of our program and it's in the law and someone presents itself and legitimately has a case that we can work with, I would say let's work with the case at that time.
Sure. I mean, let's not open the can of worms unless someone forces us to open it. Not that it's a can of worms, but it raises a whole number of different
It
issues.
raises a number of questions that, you know, in a pilot program, you want to address as many good things as you can and make them right. And if the situation presents itself, we will make it right.
On the other hand,
Please.
on the other hand,
Another informal meeting.
as you run the pilot, you might just leave one slot open for a substitute volunteer to test that process and work that out as you're working out all the other things. You wouldn't have to make it like everybody can, but that would be part of the test of, does this work? Did it not work? Okay, it didn't work, so we're not going to have that going forward. Just something to consider.
So why don't we up the money by one participant and not say we're having any, we just have an extra in case there's a need. I don't know.
You mean,
We could just up it by one and then put the number in and be all set. That may be a better way of doing it, because then everyone's going to wonder why you're upping it one and not. So, Brendan, I saw you first.
Oh yeah, well, I guess if possible, if people could just explain what their real concerns are. I know that some of it has been addressed, but I just want to understand that I get the full scope of why people are concerned about having a substitute or a proxy in that position. I mean, I can't imagine there being an opportunity for like fraud or anything like that. I mean, you have to have, you know, the right documents. You know, we'll have the assessor verify that that is the person's house. So what are the major concerns, I guess, is what I'm just trying to understand from people who don't want to necessarily put this forward right now.
You know, I think is there something that you'd like to address? I can think of one possibility, and that was just and that's really a technical thing. I think we could address who's the person, who's the employee, who's the person who's doing the work, who isn't, who's on the payroll, who isn't. How do you, it's just a few more onions to peel back to get to how we do this. It's all doable. Joe, I look to you because I know you had some of the greatest reservations.
I think part of it becomes, you know, because if you've got a proxy, it seems the proxy's doing the job. The proxy, from a federal income standpoint, the proxy is the person who's incurring, you know, earning the money. So that money would attach to them, as would the tax liability. And to me, that's a little bit of a complicating factor, less so if it's a relative of the senior, but because that person may be more likely to, you know, sort of take the financial hit, even though they're not getting any of the financial benefit. Whereas if it's a total stranger, to me, that's an added complication.
Okay. All right. Well, that I hadn't thought of it that way, so that makes sense.
Interesting point, Jim. Peg?
I have to feel like this has been figured out by other municipalities and is not a problem. My concern is that you have seniors, perhaps they are the homeowner, perhaps they still live at home with their children, sons, daughters, caregivers. They are unable, maybe they have Alzheimer's, maybe they have dementia. They're unable to do this work. And we are not affording them the opportunity to get it doesn't feel equitable to me. We're not letting them have the opportunity to get one because of their situation. And if the law allows it, I feel very strongly that we need to explore it and provide that opportunity for people who may not otherwise be able to do it.
If the state law allows it, the state law does allow it. It's the question of how do you handle the reporting with the feds?
And I think that can be figured out by calling like Norwood or one of the other communities that has it and figure out how they do the billing, how they do the income, and I don't know, it just feels like a hurdle that has been already jumped over. So we should just figure it out.
Who did Norwood?
Pardon me?
Which one of us called Norwood?
No,
Talked to Norwood.
I feel like Jay did. Jay, did you do Norwood?
I don't remember.
Only because you had really good documentation. I feel like I plagiarized Norwood for the sample that I used, and I think it came from you, but maybe not. Maybe I'm making it up.
Back up just for 1 second. I recall there being something in 59.5K that said it is a community's choice whether they allow this.
Oh,
Is
yeah.
that
Right.
true?
Oh, absolutely. It's an option.
So if it's an option, does
Then
anyone
we-
want to research it
then we-
while we leave it out of the?
If it's an option and we are ambiguous about it, then that's excluding it as a possibility, I would think. Right? Right?
Brandon?
Could this be cleared up on like some type of proxy authorization form legally, saying, okay, Joe Smith is going to work for me, and he is, my representative and replacement. All earnings will come to me. Any shortfall on that proxy, whether they didn't show up for that, is on me. That I take full responsibility, so that I have selected the person that I know is going to be the most responsible. So that way it's on them. I mean, if they really want the program and they're disabled for, whatever reason and can't do the job directly, then we should put some of that, on them as far as the tax, filing and where the credits are earned and all that stuff. And I think that can be summed up in a proxy authorization form, I would assume.
Yeah.
If we're, and I think Peg was the one who mentioned if somebody had Alzheimer's, so conceivably, could we have seniors who maybe legally aren't in a position to determine whether they want to participate in the program? If somebody's got a later stage of Alzheimer's, are they really capable of making a choice that, yes, I want to participate in this program?
Presumably at that point, they'd have a guardian or someone to sign for them. And
Maybe that would
Or would it,
all that out.
okay,
Or through some power of attorney, durable power. I think we're really borrowing a lot of trouble here, guys.
Okay.
I really
I mean,
do. We're
for
digging-
the first year, can we, maybe for the first year, can we be a little simple, and then we can, or until we're confronted with these issues in a specific case?
I think we can leave it out of our presentation to the council and to the mayor, and somebody could take responsibility perhaps for reviewing with Norwood or other communities. There has to be somebody out there who's crossed this bridge and give us that solution. Joe?
I guess one other thing, is there anything in the ADA that would compel us to accommodate somebody?
Don't know. Brendan, you do?
I was trying to quickly search for something, but I'll keep looking right now as you guys are going on.
My guess on that would, just from like past experience, my guess on that is that because the program is voluntary, that's not the case. But again, I mean, I'm sure that other communities, if there's something to encounter on this topic, then I'm sure it's been encountered. So we can find out.
Okay.
Who was able to work on this? Is it Brendan? You're looking on ADA. Peg,
Yeah.
looks like you're looking on into this with the towns.
Yep.
Jen? I'm happy to recall the towns that I spoke with.
I can do the same with mine.
So if we all followed up with the towns we spoke with, because I remember, I thought somebody actually did it. And some communities chose not to, and maybe we could just re-ask that question.
Wellesley, Hopkinton, and Norwood allow, Hopkinton allows the spouse. They specify that it can be the spouse. I haven't gotten to Wellesley yet.
So I think we could address that at a later meeting, if that makes sense. In terms of pulling together, is there anything else that we've left out, Peg?
I don't think so. So we have the age, the amount. We just need to specify the hours based on minimum wage, how that would calculate out. So
Right.
if it's next year, what is it going to be?
75.
What is it? 1275?
Thought was next year.
1275 gazinta, 1500, whatever the number is.
Yeah,
Were we thinking 1500 as the abatement?
that's what we had voted on last week.
So that's 117 hours-ish.
0.6.
Yeah, so we'll call it 117 and then they can fight us over the last $2. So I think we should put that in the proposal as, that's how many hours someone would work. And there's no carryover hours. You can't like amass 300 in 1 year and then it's 117 hours to
Right.
get your full reimbursement.
Full amount, and our further, if somebody didn't work all the hours, they wouldn't get all the credit. That's just the way it would
You
be,
get whatever,
whatever you worked.
yeah.
Calculates too, yeah.
Any thoughts about putting together a package? I was thinking that we might have a couple of people or three to pull this together in a written form of the presentation, thinking maybe a nice little slideshow.
I
About this?
did put it together. Have you seen that?
I saw that, yes. I'm wondering, filling in the details, did you think we needed anything more
Oh, for the city council?
for the city council report? Okay.
I think we definitely need a PowerPoint to be very, very clear
Yeah.
about it. And this can be the backup, the proposal-ish or I can't think tonight, guys, sorry. Whatever, fill in a word and.
It was
we
a
can
long
use that
night
too.
last night, and we've had lots of meetings already today.
And I'm waiting for my COVID test,
Oh. Uh-oh.
so.
Good luck.
Thank you.
I'm not gonna.
Yeah, so I can take a stab at the PowerPoint presentation to the city council, utilizing all the information that we've talked about.
Yeah, I would love to participate in that. Is there anyone else that wants to maybe, oh geez.
Look at that.
That's something that we could manage to do without, I don't want to hold anybody up if there's, I think 3 is the maximum we could have.
Yeah, I mean, I can put something together and then toss it to the next person and have them kind of punch it up.
That sounds like a great idea. Why, could we pass that around then? That'd be good. I'm thinking, what are we thinking, Joe?
No, as long as I get to look at it at some point and review.
I think we should vote on it once it's done.
Right.
Yeah, I don't feel that I have to be involved in putting PowerPoint stuff together, but I'm happy to do that if I had more experience with that than I care to admit.
I know I'd love to fumble along with it because I'll just hopefully get better because I am absolutely abominable with PowerPoints. Any other thoughts about the process and the timing? Would you prefer December 16?
Yeah, well,
We need to
yeah.
meet next Tuesday if we're going to try to meet before the next December 2nd meeting.
I mean, December 2nd is, both of them are just going to be incredibly full meetings.
Full.
December
Yeah.
16th has One Ferry Street and cannabis, so no. And then we have a lot next week too, so there's
There's
just.
a lot on the plate and it's a little bit quick timing.
I mean, is there a downside? We're not going to start this until fiscal year 2022. So the very first time someone could work wouldn't be until July. In
Absolutely.
best case
We
scenario.
go for the first meeting in January.
Yeah, I mean, that might be better, actually.
That would give us lots of time, I think.
I currently have nothing for the January meeting, so. You can't see it, but it's my whiteboard.
Why don't we put that up there for the January meeting? January 6th. And I would hope as many of us could be there. Backing up from that date,
Sorry.
we
January
should
6th.
we should have a time to, Jen, go ahead.
Sorry, I'm getting confused. Is it going to the mayor first and then to council, or is it vice versa?
It goes to,
Oh,
and the council has to decide whether or not they endorse the plan and the proposal, excuse me. The plan and the proposal. It was my grant.
it has to be approved by the council and then presented to the mayor.
Gotcha. Okay.
Right.
Thank you.
So, but in the meantime, we certainly could give the mayor the numbers that we're talking about, and she could be thinking more about how to go ahead and do this.
Mhm.
So we have to have it introduced by the 16th. So between now and we have to get it on the city council agenda as new business by the 16th. So plenty of time.
So let's see, how about 10th? Or would you like to try the 8th to get together to discuss this?
Guys, wow. Oh yeah, 'cause next week's Thanksgiving. I would, or the 3rd.
The 3rd. The 3rd.
The
That sounds
Thursday.
good to me.
Just because any hiccups, that gives us a week to clean it up before we introduce it to the city council.
And the plan, all right, so does that make sense for the 3rd for everybody? 6 o'clock? Sound good? Okay,
So I'll get that, whatever the PowerPoint looks like, I'll get that to you guys in advance of the 3rd. And then if there's any edits before we bring it to all of us, actually, can we do that with open meeting law? We can't. We can't.
you can.
Can't
bring it-
what?
We can't, I can't send it to you and then have you guys send back revisions. You can present the revisions in the meeting. But we
Right.
can't go back and forth outside of this meeting.
Outside of the public forum.
So it's even if it's a work product?
Especially because it's a work product.
Because the thinking is that something is changing in the work product that the public might have.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, and so then that all gets lost and now here, folks just see, so if you see
So
it,
what we can do is I'll send you whatever I do. You guys can work up whatever amendments or changes. And then when we come to the meeting on the 3rd, we can talk through those and then vote on a final version.
now, that's why I was saying we could have up to 3 people kind of look at it. So if 3 people felt and talk about it. So that's why I was thinking a group could actually work the product. Because there are 7 members on the committee and 3 is not a quorum. And that's why I had asked earlier for folks to raise their hands and say, are there?
I'll send it to Jay and Joe then. And
Sounds-
the 3 of us will just, okay, that'll get it. Okay, that'll work.
If that works for you.
Yep.
Okay. Joe?
Just real quick, Peg, I hope you don't go like overboard with graphics and little things that are moving forward and sideways. And
You've not seen my PowerPoints, Joe? They're
I've
legendary.
not.
They are legendary. There's lights that go around the edge. There's sound. There's,
Colors like you wouldn't believe.
no, that's not
Electric
me, Joe.
Yeah, have you been to Forest Park and been to the light show yet?
That's how I do my PowerPoints. I emulate that. No, they're pretty boring.
With
Simple
regard
is better.
Any other questions regarding the process? I think we're good there. With regard to the funding, the attorneys haven't gotten back to me yet, so we're still kind of possibly maybe looking at the CPA. That door hasn't completely shut yet.
Worst case, Jen, I think we need to work this as if the money comes from the city and then be excited if we don't have to do it. So we should engineer it. What did we decide for the 3 or 4 people for the first year? I don't know how many.
18K.
18K for the first year? Okay.
And we were thinking about maybe adding one more person, which would make it 19.5.
Okay. Well, we can play around with that. Okay. All right. Sounds good.
All right. Anything else? Oh my gosh.
Not sure. We're done ahead of time.
Yeah. Trying to make up for that extra half hour, Joe. Sorry to throw off your schedule last week, but we did accomplish a lot. I think we're moving along very well. I appreciate everyone's
Okay.
effort. Thank you so much.
Gotcha.
If there is anything else,
Motion to adjourn?
I have a motion to adjourn. Second.
Second.
Jen.
Jen, I defer to Jen.
All right, we have a second. Roll call vote. Peg,
Aye.
Jen,
Aye.
API, Joe,
Aye.
Brendan,
Aye.
and Jay.
Aye.
Oh, you're not. All right. Good job. Good job. Hey, thanks again.
That was good.
Look forward to meeting on the 3rd. Be safe for the holiday. I hope.
Happy holidays, everybody.
And Peg,
Thank you.
Yeah.
You thanked everyone.
9 o'clock tonight, I'll know.
9 o'clock tonight.
All right. See you later.
God
All right.
bless.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.